The lunar calendar of Sanatana Dharma has a peculiar feature that occasionally causes some months to repeat twice. And sometimes, though rarely, a month is entirely skipped. The repeated month is known as Adhik Mas, also referred to as Purushottam Mas, Mala Mas, or intercalated month. The skipped month is known as 𝗳 Mas or suppressed month. The reason behind this phenomena is deeply rooted in the motions of the earth and moon, which we'll try to explore in this video. The video is structured into 4 chapters. First, we'll introduce the Hindu calendar and the solar and lunar months. Then, we'll go into the underlying cause of why the Adhik and 𝗳 Mas is required. Basically, here we discuss why we need Adhik and 𝗳 Mas. In the third segment, we'll dive deep into the actual mechanism and technical rules of how the months are added or skipped. Basically, here we'll explore how we know which month is Adhik or 𝗳 Mas. Then, finally, we'll see some statistical peculiarities related to these months. You can access the chapters from the timeline. Now, the Hindu calendar consists of 2 distinct types of months that run simultaneously. The solar month, which is based on the position of the sun, and the lunisolar month, which is based on both the sun and moon. Remember, it is not purely lunar month and is lunisolar because it is based upon both sun and moon. While both of these months are used to determine the dates of festivals and auspicious occasions, lunisolar calendar is more extensively used. Now, let's see how these months are defined. The solar month, as the name implies, is based on the position of the sun relative to the earth. To understand the solar month, we first have to know about the zodiac signs that divide the sky around the earth into 12 sectors like this. Remember that these are the sidereal zodiacs and not the tropical ones. To learn what that even means and how these zodiacs are defined and oriented, please watch our video Vedic versus Western Astrology and animated description, where we discuss this division in detail. You can watch it later, and for the purpose of understanding this video, you must only know that these sectors are centered on Earth and are aligned to the fixated stars of the zodiac. These names are the 12 signs of the zodiac. These start with Mesa in Hindi or Aries in English. These are the basis of the solar month. As the Earth revolves around the Sun, due to the motion of the Earth, the Sun lies in different zodiac signs at different times. For example, here the Sun lies in Simha or Leo, and after some time has passed, due to the revolution of the Earth, the Sun enters Tula or Libra. This is the main mechanism behind the solar months. A new month is said to have commenced when the Sun enters the new sign. For example, the first solar month begins when the Sun enters Mesh Rasi or Aries. Now the names of the months corresponding to these rasis are Baisakh, Jyesth, Asad, Shravan, Bhadrapada, Ashwin, Kartik, Margashirs, Push, Magh, Falgun, and Chaitra. These names of the months are each derived from the names of the nakshatras. For example, Baisakh is derived from the nakshatra Visakha, Jyeshtha from the nakshatra Jyeshtha, and so on. The reason why these months are associated with these particular nakshatras is an interesting topic in itself, and we'll explore this in some other video in the future. For now, we just note that these rasis correspond to these months. Now, when the Sun enters Mithun, we say a new solar month of Asadha has started, and it lasts until the Sun is in that Rasi. The time when the Sun enters a new Rasi is called Sankranti. For example, when the Sun enters Karka Rasi, it is called Karka Sankranti, and the month of Shravana begins. Similarly, all 12 months come in order as the earth revolves around the Sun. The months always come in order. No months are repeated or skipped, and there is no Adhik Mas or 𝗳 Mas in the case of solar months. Unlike the Georgian calendar, where the number of days in a month is fixed arbitrarily by convention, the number of days in a month for the Hindu solar calendar is not fixed. It is entirely dependent on the motion of the earth. Typically, the length of a solar month lies between 29 and 32 days. This is a very significant thing to note. Every month is not of equal length. Some months are longer and some are shorter in comparison. This occurs because the orbit of the Earth is not a perfect circle and is in fact elliptical. Let's exaggerate this to visualize it more clearly. Also, the Sun is not at the perfect center but at one of the focal points of the ellipse. Because of this, some portions of the orbit are nearer to the Sun while others are farther from the Sun. The furthest point on Earth's orbit is called aphelion and the nearest point is called perihelion. The Earth revolves at its fastest speed when it is nearer to the Sun and at its slowest when it is far from the Sun. Today's science explains this fact through Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion, but Indian rishis and astronomers have known this fact since time immemorial and applied this fact in calculating the length of a solar month. Now, because of this uneven speed of the Earth around the Sun, the months that occur when the Earth is nearer to the perihelion are shorter because the Earth moves faster, and the months that occur when the Earth is far from the Sun are longer because the Earth moves slower here. As you can see, in general, the months Kartik, Margashirsh and Pous occurs when the Earth is near the Sun, and hence they are shorter, while the months between Falgun and Ashwin are longer because the Earth moves slowly because it is farther from the Sun. Now, according to 𝗁cie Siddhanta, the mean length of a sidereal solar year, that is, the time taken by the Sun to travel through 12 rasis, beginning from the beginning of Maize or Aries and again reaching at the same point, is 365.25 days, and a solar month can have a length anywhere in between the minimum of 29 days, 7 hours and 38 minutes, and the maximum of 31 days, 15 hours and 28 minutes. Let's note these values for reference since we are going to need them in a while. Now, let's move on to the lunar month. There are many types of lunar months, and we talk about some of these in our video, Sidereal versus Synodic Lunar Months, an animated description. You can check this one out later. For our purpose here, we use the Synodic month, which is related to the phases of the moon or Tithi. Tithi is the time taken by the moon to increase the angle between the sun and moon by 12 degrees. To understand this, we could imagine segments of 12 degrees each on the moon's orbit. The moon travels through each of these sections as it revolves around the Earth. The time taken by the moon to travel through one segment is called one Tithi. When the moon is exactly between the sun and the Earth, it is called an 𝗵𝗲 or new moon. And when the moon is exactly opposite the sun, it is called a Purnima or full moon. Now, 𝗵𝗲 and Purnima divide the moon's orbit into 2 parts. Both of these parts have 15 segments, hence 15 Tithis each. This part is when the moon's angular distance from the sun is decreasing and the moon is moving from Purnima towards 𝗵𝗲. When the moon is in this part, it is called the 𝗵𝗲 because the moon's phase as seen from the Earth decreases day by day. Similarly, this part is when the moon's angular distance from the sun is increasing and the moon is moving from 𝗵𝗲 towards Purnima. When the moon is in this part, it is called the 𝗁𝗵 because the moon's phase as seen from the Earth increases day by day. The phases are named 1 to 15 on each sector and they are called 𝗁 Pratipad, 𝗁 Dvitiya and so on the 𝗁𝗵 and Krishna Pratipad, Krishna Dvitiya and so on the 𝗁𝗵. Now, a lunar month is the time taken by the moon to complete all 30 Tithis and return to the same phase. This could be from 𝗵𝗲 to 𝗵𝗲 or from Purnima to Purnima. Accordingly, there are 2 systems called the Amanta system and the Purnimanta system of reckoning a month. The Amanta system considers a month from one 𝗵𝗲 to another 𝗵𝗲, while the Purnimanta system reckons it from Purnima to Purnima. The Amanta system is followed more in southern India, while the Purnimanta system is more popular in northern parts of India and in Nepal. According to 𝗁cie Siddhanta, it takes on average 29.53 days to complete one lunar month. Now, the lunar months also don't always have the same length. The length of the months can vary from a minimum of 29 days, 7 hours, 20 minutes to a maximum of 31 days, 19 hours and 30 minutes. This occurs due to the complex gravitational relationship between the Sun, Earth and Moon. A lunar year is the collection of 12 lunar months, and on average, the length of one lunar year is 12 times 29.53 days, which is 354.36 days. Now, let's add this to our reference note. So now that we have the definitions of the solar and lunar months, we can talk about the underlying causes of the Adhika and Kshaya Masa. As you can see from our reference notes, the length of a solar year is 365 days and some change, and the length of a lunar year is 354 days and some change. So, there is a difference of about 11 days between a solar and a lunar year. This difference is the basic cause of Adhika and Kshaya Masa. If no correction is applied, the difference will accumulate and the lunar month will fall behind more and more each year. To prevent this from happening and to couple the lunar year with the solar year, we need to add or remove months from the lunar year. Now, let's move on to the actual mechanism by which the Adhik Mas are added and the Kshaya Masa is skipped from the lunar year. For that, we have to understand how the names of the lunar months are assigned. This is done in a very systematic and natural way. To understand this visually, let's represent the lunar months with these bars. Remember, currently we are looking at the Amanta month, so it starts with an Amavasya and ends with an Amavasya too. Even if the Purnimanta system is in use at a place, assigning names to the months always begins with Amanta month. As we saw earlier, the lengths of the lunar months vary from month to month, so some of the bars are a little shorter and some are a little longer. Now, independent of these lunar months, the solar month is also happening simultaneously. Let's represent Sankranti or the beginning of the solar months with these lines. So, one solar month begins here and ends at this line here, where another Sankranti occurs and another month starts. Let's call this 𝗵𝗲 Sankranti, and the month of 𝗵𝗲 starts here and ends here. Similarly, 𝗳𝗃 starts here and so on. The length of the solar month is also not always the same, and the distance between the two Sankrantis is also different. We notice that generally each lunar month has one Sankranti lying in it. Now, we use this fact to assign names to the lunar months. There are different rules to assign the names to the lunar months. The rule we are going to discuss in this video is given in the book 𝗪 Vivechana, which is attributed to 𝗵 Vyasa. Celebrated astronomer Bhaskaracharya also followed this rule in his works. This is the general rule that is followed at the present time. But there is also a different rule which is given in Brahma Siddhanta, which we will not go into today. Now, to assign the names to lunar months, we start by looking at the beginning of the lunar months and note the rasis in which the sun lies at that moment. The lunar month is named after the corresponding month. For example, here, when this lunar month starts, at this particular moment, the sun is in Min, that is, the solar month at this moment is Chaitra. So, this particular lunar month will be named Chaitra. Similarly, when this lunar month starts, at the starting moment, the sun is in Mesa Rasi and the solar month is 𝗵𝗲. So, this lunar month will be named 𝗵𝗲. Now that this rule is established, we can name all other months similarly. As you can see here, sometimes there is a lunar month in which there is no Sankranti at all. This can happen because, as you can see from our reference note, the length of one solar month can be greater than that of a lunar month, and so sometimes a whole lunar month falls right in between two Sankrantis. When this happens, it gives rise to Adhik Mas. Let's see how that happens. Let's assign the name of this month here. As you can see, at the start of this month, the sun is in Mithun Rasi and the solar month is Asadha. So this lunar month will also be named Asadha. Now let's move on to the next month. Here too, we notice that at the start of the month, the sun is still in Mithun Rasi and the solar month is still Asadha. So this month too will be named Asadha. Hence, there are two Asadhas, and the one that didn't give any Sankranti in it is called Adhik Asadha, and this one is called the Nija Asadha or Shuddha Asadha. Now, let's see how a 𝗳 Mas occurs. As we move along our lunar months, sometimes we notice that one lunar month has two Sankranti in it. It is possible because, as we can see in our reference notes, the maximum length of the lunar month is bigger than the minimum length of the solar month. So, a solar month can fit completely inside a lunar month. Now, as we name our months according to the rule, we see that this month here will be named Bhadrapada and this month here will be named Ashwina, as it begins when the sun is in Kanya Rasi. Now, when we move to the next month, at the starting moment, 𝗵𝗲 Sankranti has already occurred. So the solar month at this moment is 𝗵𝗲. So this month will be named 𝗵𝗲. Now we notice that here we have made a jump from Ashwin directly to 𝗵𝗲. We have skipped Kartika entirely. So this year, no lunar month is named Kartika. Here, Kartika is called 𝗳 Mas. Hence, we have established how Adhik and 𝗳 Mas occur naturally in a lunisolar calendar. Once we establish the rules, it happens autonomously. Now, we have to remember that we are working with the Amanta system of lunar months. Now, for the determination of Adhik and 𝗳 Mas for the Purnimanta scheme, we need to do one more step after this. Let's see how it's done. Since these are Amanta months, they go from Amavasya to Amavasya with Purnima in the middle. The first half is Shukla Paksha or the bright half, and the second half is Krishna or the dark fortnight. Let's color the dark fortnight with a bit darker color so it's easier to understand visually. Now, in the Purnimanta scheme, the lunar month happens from Purnima to Purnima, and the first half is Krishna Paksha and the second half is Shukla Paksha. So the duration between here and here is a Purnimanta month. Similarly, other months come consecutively. Now the naming system for the Purnimanta scheme is based on the Amanta scheme. In the Purnimanta scheme, the bright part is named the same as the corresponding Amanta month. For the dark fortnight, it is named after the next Suddha or natural month in the Amanta scheme. For example, here in the Purnimanta system, to name the dark part of this month, we'll look at the corresponding dark part of the Amanta system. Here it is Phalguna, and now we look for the next Suddha month that comes after it. In this case, it's Chaitra. Now, the lunar new year begins at this point, which is the starting point of the Amanta Chaitra month. Interestingly, the new year in the Purnimanta system also begins at the same exact point. But as we see here, it is the middle of the month for the Purnimanta system. So in a lunar year by Purnimanta scheme, there is only half a month of Chaitra in the beginning, and the other half at the end of the lunar year. Now the names for all of the other months of the Purnimanta system are assigned in a similar way. Let's see what happens when we encounter an Adhik Masa. Adhik Mas is also sometimes referred to as Malamas, which literally means inauspicious month. In this time, religious rites and ceremonies are not performed. Because of this reason, Adhik Mas has to occur at the same duration in both Amanta and Purnimanta schemes. So here, these two fortnights will be named Adhika Sadha. Now, this bright fortnight will be named the same as this fortnight, and hence this is Suddha Sadha. Now, for this dark half, it will be named with reference to the next Suddha month that comes after this, which in this case is Asadha. So, it will be named Asadha, and it is the Suddha Asadha. So, in the Purnimanta system, we notice an interesting result. The Adhik Mas is sandwiched between the two halves of the Suddha Mas. Now, the same rule applies in the case of Mas Chhay. Here too, the same month, that is the month of Kartika, has been skipped. So the same month is skipped in both Amanta and Purnimanta system. Now, let's see some interesting facts about Adhik and Kshaya Mas. Adhik Mas is more common than Kshaya Mas, and on average it occurs once every 33 months or 2.75 years. The same particular month again becomes Adhik Mas in about 19 years. Over that time, 7 Adhik Mas happen. In the next cycle of 7 months, 1 or 2 months are changed. So after a certain number of cycles, whole months are changed. If we look at the Adhik Mas from a history of more than 1700 years, from 300 AD to 2023 AD, there have been a total of 663 Adhik Mas, out of which the Adhik Mas has occurred the most number of times in Asadha. Shravana and Jyeshtha come in close second and third. These months are most likely to occur as Adhik Mas because they occur when the earth is slowest moving, because it lies at aphelion, which is the farthest point from the sun. The months that occur when the earth is at perihelion are Margasirsa, Pausa and Magha. In these months, generally Adhik Mas doesn't occur. Kshaya Mas is rarer than Adhik Mas, and if we look at the Kshaya Mas from the same time period, only a total of 27 Kshaya Mas have occurred in comparison to 663 Adhik Mas. Now, all of these are in the Margasirsa, Pausa and Magha. After analysis of all Kshaya Mas in this period, we notice that the interval between two Kshaya Mas is generally 19 years, 122 years or 141 years, and occasionally it can be 38 years, 46 years and 65 years. The last Kshaya Mas was Magha in 1983, and the next will be Pausa in the year 2124 AD, after 141 years. We hope we are able to make this concept more accessible to you. Thank you for watching.